Hi, everybody. This is Rhonda Cobb, the Money Coach, and welcome to our show. I know that you are going to love today's show. We're going to be talking about insurance fraud. And are you the target of a scheme? Or you could call it a scam. Joining us today is our guest. He is a licensed attorney and partner in the Chicago office of Hepler Broom, where he focuses his practice on organized healthcare fraud, insurance fraud, and insurance coverage. He likes to represent and counsel insurers, businesses, nonprofits, and individuals on a variety of topics and disputes in both state and federal court, and sometimes even out of court. He's a former board member of the National Society of Professional Insurance Investigators, a board member of the Family Counseling Service of Aurora, Illinois, and he serves on the City of Aurora Advisory Commission on Disabilities. So it is a great privilege and honor to have Eric here. Eric, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm doing great. It's a little chilly here, but it's nothing we haven't experienced before in December in Chicago.
It is winter, or almost officially winter. We only have a couple days left before it's officially winter, huh? But
I
I'm
didn't
just
realize
real
winter had not
curious.
yet begun.
What?
Yeah, I was walking with my 12-year-old son just last weekend. And he's the one who taught me for the first time that it's not actually winter yet, despite the layers I've been wearing for weeks. So you learn something new every day, and sometimes from 12-year-olds.
Exactly. And if you're not learning from your 12-year-old, you're just simply not paying attention. That was what I said when mine were 12.
Oh, you've met him. Okay.
Exactly. I'm sure he's wonderful. You can send him over here to visit whenever you want. I think my computer needs fixed. My iPad's,
Yeah.
messed up. I could use the help.
Careful what you wish for.
We have good stuff here. He would like this area. We're not that far away either. Anyway, so when we talk about insurance fraud, especially if we talk on the level of individuals, you know, what are the little hints or, um, how are they going to recognize that maybe the hair on the back of my neck ought to be starting to stand up because this is starting to smell like a bad fish? What are the little hints that they should be looking out for?
Sure. In my experience over the course of my career defending against fraudulent claims, certain themes have been prevalent. And let's start first with the theme and experience that many motorists would have that I think fits the bill. In the staged and caused accident arena in which I traffic, there is a type of staged and intentionally caused loss called a swoop and squat. What will happen in this scenario is you are driving along, minding your own business, and without realizing it, one, possibly two cars enter the lane in front of you, travel in front of you for a short distance. At some point, a vehicle in front of you, immediately in front of you, is going to slam on its brakes and come to an abrupt stop, seemingly for no reason at all. And you're going to have no choice but to lock up your brakes, and you will rear end them. Sometimes you'll observe that it's simply that one vehicle in front of you stopping for no good reason. In other settings, you'll see a vehicle swoop in front of that one, hit the brakes, thereby causing the vehicle in front of you to hit its brakes. In either event, you are slamming into the rear of another vehicle, and you cannot for the life of you understand what just happened, because seemingly, whether it's the car immediately in front of you or the car in front of that one, there was no good reason to stop. You weren't at an intersection, nobody was darting out, there were no obstructions in the roadway. All of a sudden, people just decided to slam on their brakes for no reason, and now you've rear-ended them. Simply that occurrence should raise the little hairs in the back of your neck that something's going on here. And in fact, if you, as millions do each year, find yourself in that scenario, you have in fact most likely been the victim of what we call a swoop and squat, in which the perpetrators have executed a plan by which you rear-ended them. And what do we know about personal injury claims? Probably the most common mechanism of an injury is a motor vehicle accident, and especially a rear-end accident, because it causes what could sometimes be serious but rarely catastrophic or fatal injuries. And we're talking here in the nature of whiplash. Once they have caused you to rear-end them, that's all they need. They're then going to go incur medical care. They're going to amass thousands of dollars in medical bills, and they're going to present a claim against your insurance company, possibly sue you, possibly both. That, I think, if somebody is going to be the victim of a very obvious and easily to discern form of insurance fraud, that's it.
Wow.
There are others, but that's it.
Wow. Yeah, that would be really bad. If you think that happened to you and you hear all of the or you see everything that you just described happen in front of you, and you did not manage to stop in time, what do? Do you stay in your car? Do you take the risk of getting out? What do you do?
Well, concerns of personal safety always need to predominate. If you're in an area where you just don't feel safe, immediately call the police, let them know there's been an accident, and stay in your vehicle. Keep the doors locked. At some point, you're going to need to communicate with the drivers in front of you. And believe me, if they've intended for you to rear-end them, they're going to make it very easy for you to do so. What that means is if you don't trust the area and you fear for your personal safety, you stay in your vehicle, you crack the window just a little bit, and you communicate with them through the window. You keep the vehicle running. Every state treats fleeing an accident as a ticketable offense, but if you truly fear for your safety, get out of there. And you can always get to the nearest police station afterwards and explain what happened and why you left. You're not going to be hauled to jail because you fled an accident scene because you feared for your safety. If the scene is one that you can trust, then be a human being. Allow for the possibility that maybe there was a legitimate reason. Maybe it wasn't an act of fraud. Be a human being. Get out. Make sure the person or people in the vehicle are okay. You do have an obligation to exchange information, licenses, insurance information. You have to have auto insurance, so you need to exchange that information. There's nothing wrong with asking if they're okay. There's nothing wrong with asking if you can call them an ambulance. There's nothing wrong with taking photographs. In fact, I recommend it. And you don't have to act like you are one of these news expose reporters with a nosy cameraman. You simply take out your phone that we all carry in our pocket now and say, listen, this almost certainly is going to be the subject of an insurance claim. I want to start taking photos so, you and I don't have to rely on our faulty memories 2 years from now. And you start taking photos of the vehicles, you start taking photos of the occupants. I would even suggest nowadays people activate the video function on their phone and say, listen, in case my insurance company wants to make you whole, wants to, pay you if you present a claim, I just want to make sure we get a good record of how you're doing. How are you? I'm taking a video here. I just want to make sure that you're protected. I would couch it in those terms. Hey, look, our lots just happened. We're both adrenalized. Let's just make sure we preserve a record here. In case you want to present an injury claim, let's make sure there's a record here. That's why I'm filming this. It's for your own benefit. And start engaging them. How are you? Are you injured? Are you hurt? Can I call you any sort of medical attention? Do you want me to call the police? Do you need an ambulance? Hey, I'm not a doctor, but is any part of you hurting? Can you turn your head? Anything of those nature, because increasingly what we will see in these claims is it could be a minimal tap with cosmetic damage between the vehicles, and what happens in 2 years when this claimant shows up in my office for a deposition after they've filed suit. Oh, it was terrible. I could barely stand upright. You're insured. Your client was mocking my physical pain. I was just begging for an ambulance. You wouldn't do anything. If they're going to force you to rear-end them, they're going to have no qualms about lying. So I highly recommend if people feel safe, they get out and they start making photo and video documentation of the incident.
Cool. I think that's a really good idea. The last time I witnessed an accident that I thought looked a little bit funny, It would have served the person who got hit very well if he had done that. Um, because by the time the police got there, the other driver that had literally sped up in order to run into this young man um, had called 20 people to the scene. There were cars everywhere. They came from all over the place, and there were all these people. And the sadly, the police that came, they were like two rookies, or one was a rookie and one was almost a rookie. And I got to hand it to them. They did a really good job with crowd control and everything. But I think at the end of it all, she and her 20 people convinced these policemen that, the other driver was at fault. And that wasn't what my two eyes saw at all. And I had seen the entire accident. And so I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and your mention of a growing crowd leads us to the next way this can mutate into an additional layer of fraud. It's called passenger stalling. You rear end the vehicle in front of you. You have a strong sense that they forced you to do it. Something's not right. Lo and behold, within minutes, another vehicle pulls up. 3 people get out. The 4th drives away, and those three additional people get in the car, and they start hanging about the car. Well, what are they doing there? They don't really announce their presence to you. Maybe they come over and make small talk, but the purpose of this is eventually when the police come, and of course, if you call it a fender bender without any serious injuries, in most major metropolitan areas, it's going to take the police several minutes, charitably, to get to you. By the time
Yes.
the police show up, you've now got 4 people who claim they were in their car, when in actuality, you just saw the driver. And when you got out and looked in the vehicle, nobody else was in the vehicle. How does this get resolved? Well, 2 years from now, it's your word versus theirs.
Yes.
What are you talking about? We were there the whole time. You just don't want to accept responsibility. You want to be halfway pregnant. You want to admit to rear-ending the car and doing the right thing, but you're denying the existence of 3 of us. How could you do that to us? It's another thing that cautions or counsels rather in favor of taking photo and video. Because
Absolutely.
in the few minutes we've been speaking, I'm talking to you from downtown Chicago. Just in the few minutes we've been speaking, I guarantee this pattern is played out somewhere on the west side of Chicago, probably half a dozen times already.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm as busy as I am these days. There's a reason my practice group is as busy as it is these days. It's insurance fraud, broadly speaking, is a multi-billion-dollar industry because
I was going
it
to ask
works.
you that. I bet it is. And when you talk about the multi-billion-dollar insurance fraud industry, now we start to get into my playbook. What does
Yeah,
that cost the economy in general? Well, okay, if you're not the direct victim, should you or should you not be concerned about this billions of dollars? And I would like to say that yes, you should, because the law of large numbers, which governs all insurance policies, whether it's um, your car, your homeowners, your health insurance, whichever, all insurance is based on that one law. And if you have billions of dollars in claims or losses, as they're called in the industry, then that means premiums go up for everybody, not just those afflicted. Is that right?
you're correct. You're correct. Every one of us pays the cost